Look, have mercy
What's
on
up,
me,
everybody,
have
and
mercy
welcome
on
back to On the Bluff. Gabe Coon with me, as always. I'm Christian Fowler.
You are
myself,
Christian Fowler.
Feeling much heavier this week. Yeah, I think I ate way too much all weekend for Thanksgiving, all week and weekend.
You got a fuller face, man.
Yeah.
A little glow to you.
A glow?
Looks good, though, man.
Okay.
Looks good.
So I'm wearing the weight well.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
It could go the other direction, so
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Can you tell a difference in me?
You're looking slim.
I only ate one plate, man.
So did y'all do multiple Thanksgivings or just one?
Just the one. And then we had a Friendsgiving last night.
Okay.
So that
Only
was
one plate for that one as well?
One plate. One plate. A lot of dessert, though.
Okay.
A lot of dessert.
Okay.
How many plates of dessert?
Two. Two. I didn't go past the two because I felt ridiculous. You ever heard of
felt
better
ridiculous.
than sex cake?
Nope.
Yeah. It was like this Heath bar, chocolate, evaporated milk type.
I've had.
It's very, and it's got like a vanilla frosting.
It's very good.
Very, very moist. It's a very moist cake. I loved the moistness. How moist it was.
I can't. I'm not even. You set that up with the name of the cake, and then you go there. I just have to refrain.
It was very moist, better than sex cake.
nice.
Was it better than sex? No, but it was a better than sex cake.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta. There's the elephant in the room here, Gabe,
Okay.
that we need to discuss.
Are you talking? Don't talk about me like that.
You
Yeah, that's not nice.
you kind of created a shitstorm on Twitter for Thanksgiving food this last week. The mashed potato stuff, man.
Well, listen, to be fair, this was an Anthony Sane creation. Now, to be fair, this was about white Thanksgiving versus black Thanksgiving. And he says you can leave the mashed potatoes out. He likes mashed potatoes, but it's not part of a black Thanksgiving. Now, he put it on his Facebook, and a lot of people said, hell no, we don't do mashed potatoes. No, I like mashed potatoes, but we don't. It's not a necessity. I came up with this, all right? I think at a white Thanksgiving, 100% of Thanksgiving dinners will have mashed potatoes. About 100%.
Probably close.
I think a black Thanksgiving is about 50 still. It's not like a zero.
Yeah, I wouldn't
like Sane made it seem like no black families have mashed potatoes Thanksgiving. And I reject that thought. That's not true.
Sane likes to paint in broad.
But I do
strokes.
think it's really insane to say like, leave the mashed potatoes out. Like, why?
Yeah, why?
Mashed potatoes are always good.
Well,
Right.
did
Good
you
mashed
have
potato
how many
bar,
mashed
good,
potato servings did you have over the week?
plenty.
Yeah.
I only had 2 plates of Thanksgiving food, so 2 solid
Two,
servings,
yeah.
but it's like half my plate when I get it.
Right.
Because I want to put it on my rolls.
The glue.
Yeah, it
Holds
really
everything
is.
together.
It is. It is. I do think though of Thanksgiving foods, turkey's the glue guy. It's the glue guy.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
like you're not eating it anywhere else really. Like you don't eat turkey, like a big ass turkey,
Right.
any other time besides like Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas. But you eat it there and you feel like it's not complete. Like you don't have a complete spread without the turkey.
Yeah. Mashed potatoes are more of the literal glue.
Yes, yeah. Like goop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just sort of put with everything.
Yeah, combine everything.
Like I want to bite a ham, let me put some mashed potatoes with
Right.
it. Let me throw these mashed potatoes on a roll, eat the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. For
100%.
sure. For sure.
Speaking of Gabe and social media,
Oh shit.
I think we have to go here. If you guys were not watching or tuned in to last week's episode, Gabe
Pull
discussed,
out your phone. Pull out your damn phone so you have this in front of you.
Gabe discussed
Cooking on
cooking for Thanksgiving and what he does and what Taylor does.
So to be fair, I said I cook because Taylor's at work. She does prepare a lot of it. I end up heating it up. But
You didn't
she,
mention that at first, though.
Yeah,
You said I
well,
cook because
whatever,
Taylor's
man.
at work.
Potato, semantics. Y'all kiss my ass.
So, Taylor Coon, the wife of Gabe Coon, DM'd me on Instagram on Tuesday at 4:09 p.m.
Let's go.
Roughly 4 hours after last week's episode dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and I quote, this is straight from the bride of Gabe herself. Just started watching this week's episode, ellipses, all caps. To be clear, ellipses. He buys the turkey from a restaurant.
Wow.
I prep the ham and glaze.
Wow.
He does cook the potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
but then uses the butter that I make. Thank y'all for calling him out. Follows it up with, I heard that and said, this MFer did not just claim to cook the whole meal. The MFer being...
I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing about my wife. She is a absolute turd. I mean, she's a turd. Now, here's the thing. I cook the turkey. I handle the turkey.
You cook it or
Or
you
do you
I
go
cook
pick
it
it
up.
up?
I pick it up and then I cook it. That's how it works. And then I do the ham. She said she did the glaze. No, I did the glaze.
Okay.
I put it on the grill on low heat. I did the whole thing for 2.5 hours. That's how it worked with our ham. It was pre-cooked, spiral slice from Honey Baked.
Yeah.
I did all that. I did the potatoes, that type of thing.
Use
I
her
help
butter.
the whole time. See, but here's the thing about it's kind of funny when she says, I just use the butter. Because, have you ever made good mashed potatoes? You need half and half. You need salt, pepper, garlic, all that. Maybe a little onion powder. Then you throw in some garlic butter to mix it all up. But, who cares? Okay, the butter. I still have to cook the potatoes and make the mashed potatoes, right?
I agree.
So, either way, she's a turd. She couldn't let me have this.
No,
you know?
no,
Because here's the thing.
Definitely.
She works. She was supposed to work. She got off at 3 this Thanksgiving, so she was home cooking. But last Thanksgiving, it was me putting in all the dishes and cooking everything and uncovering it and throwing cheese on and top of the mac and making sure it browned up and all that. Did she prepare it? Yes. Did I end up putting it in the oven and cooking it? Yes. So, she couldn't let me have this one, I guess.
No,
But
clearly.
I'll say this about her. She's a hell of a cook. So she doesn't want any credit to be taken away from her. But I wasn't taking credit away from her.
Shout out to Taylor.
Oh,
Shout
y'all
out to
Shout out to
Taylor.
Taylor.
real friends. How many of us? Why are you taking her side, dude?
I'm not taking a side. I'm just saying.
Shout out
Shout
Taylor.
out to Taylor. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with
You're
that.
it's you taking her side to me.
I,
That's how I hear that.
I feel pretty neutral, but I did get a wonderful laugh out of that message. I will tell you that.
And you know what's funny? I guess we kind of had a little clickbait going last week. Me freaking out, and running around the studio.
We did.
Because that's why she never listens. Never once has clicked on that damn link to listen to our podcast. Never has done it. But as soon as she saw me freak out from you giving your announcement last week,
She had to go watch
she
it.
went and watched it. She was let down by the announcement, but she caught the fact that I said I cooked the meal. Now, y'all called me out even then, and I sort of stepped back a little
Yeah.
bit. But damn.
Wait. Breaking news. She was let down by the announcement?
Yeah, she was let down.
She thought it was gonna be something bigger. Than
I
that.
don't know what else.
She
would've
doesn't
been.
know Christian the way that we do.
I
That
know.
was a
I told her that. I
huge
told her that.
announcement.
I told her that. I was like, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand. But
So
she had.
Is that really the only episode that she's listened to? And it just so happened that she.
I think so. Yes, I think that is literally the only episode she's listened intently listened to.
You almost
waiting
got away
for your
with it.
announcement.
that
You
is-
almost got away with it.
Yeah.
If it weren't for you and your damn teases, Kenny.
Yeah.
You and your damn clips, Kenny.
He screwed.
You got me caught.
Yeah. Completely.
Sad stuff. Sad stuff.
Depends on which side of the fence you're on.
I mean, it is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But she's a turd.
Okay. Anything else from Thanksgiving you want to hit on? before we
Nothing
move on?
really, man. Your Cowboys rolled. That was cool.
They did.
They can't beat a team with a winning record, though.
They can beat the bad ones.
Come on, man. They beat the hell out of the bad ones.
45-10.
Good God. Dak looks great against bad teams,
Right.
brother.
Hey,
oh, my God.
He looked good against the Eagles too.
Okay. Sure.
Let's not.
Okay. That's
Let's
fine.
not fully take this away.
I
from
got
him.
you. I got you. I got you.
Firmly supplanted in the MVP conversation. Just saying. Okay, let's.
Because no one else really
No,
there's-
not at all.
We'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah,
Though.
let's move on to something else that happened over Thanksgiving over the weekend, and that was University of Memphis basketball team in the Bahamas made it to, did not win, the final game in the battle for Atlantis, but nonetheless defeated Michigan defeated a top 25 team in Arkansas, and they did get blasted by Villanova.
Yeah.
But we talked about last week a successful week/weekend in the Bahamas for this team would be going 2-1 and making it to the championship game. It's exactly what they did. I know it loses some luster when you get smacked and you're losing by 30 at halftime. I know it's not as
Right.
fun. And people would probably be a little bit more excited if it was more of a competitive game, but it wasn't. They went to that final game, they laid an egg, and they got smoked. But nonetheless, 2-1, beating two quality opponents. I think
It was
successful.
a damn success. Those are going to be quad 1 wins by the end of the year. Let's be
Yep.
honest. Michigan's going to pace their way through the Big Ten. I think
Yep.
they're a good enough team to do that. And then Arkansas is going to be fine in the SEC. They have more than enough talent. That was impressive as hell. I don't give a damn who you are.
Yeah.
Right? And it was different ways that they did it. Michigan, we'll start there. Ashton Hardaway, the Hardaways in general. Jaden was solid in his 11 minutes, but Ashton Hardaway ran the day. 5 for 7 from 3.
17 points.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts.
Came out of nowhere.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that the Hardaway boys stepped up when Penny was on the sideline again in that type of game. That was fun to see. So they made it happen there. I thought played good defense for the most part. The final execution in that game made a 8-point game a 4-point game,
Right.
but still get over top. Arkansas game, David Jones, dude. That was one of the best performances I've seen from any particular Tiger in the Penny Hardaway era. And
Yeah.
we've seen Kendrick Davis, and we've seen Jeremiah Martin down the stretch of the season
DeAndre.
in his first year. We've seen DeAndre Ball. That one was about as impressive, if not the most impressive performance from any one particular individual in the Penny Hardaway era. 36 points, got to the line 14 times, made 12. He was 10 for 14
Yeah.
from the field,
floor.
4 for 8 from 3. And then on top of that, he came in as that dirty work guy. Oh, rebounds and defense. He had 5 steals.
Yeah.
Got out in transition a bunch. That was insane. We'll talk about the Villanova thing in a second, but I want to talk about those 2 wins. You cannot look past those as if they didn't happen
Right.
just because of the Villanova loss.
No, I mean, absolutely not. Like you said, those will age well, more than likely, and be quad 1 wins. And for so long in this offseason, we talked about the quality of non-conference opponents, and then we were looking around last week like maybe these non-conference games aren't going to be as big of a deal as we thought. And that's clearly subject to change week to week, day to day. But securing these 2 wins is massive for this team. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Perfect
great.
to have these 2 quality wins. Now, how shocked were you that they were not a top 25 team?
Not shocked after last week.
You weren't?
Not shocked.
Really?
I was very shocked.
I was stunned.
I mean, compared to last week, I thought they, I guess last week them not getting in led me to believe that after that Villanova loss, everybody would just say, oh, they're not on the same
Told you
level
so.
as Villanova.
Right.
Told you. Because I think a lot of what happens with AP voters, especially early in the out-of-conference season, is they have these predisposed beliefs that
Right.
they want to stand by and they don't want to be wrong.
They cherry pick things that
So
prove
they
them.
exactly.
Yeah.
So and there's just not a lot of metrics, not a lot of data points to go back to, so they can just sort of stick by what they thought
Right.
coming into the year. And I think that's what you see a lot of the time. AP voters piss me off though.
Yeah.
Point being is I'm like the fact that they weren't in last week
kind of
sort of led me to believe that they wouldn't be in this week. And they're still at the right outside, others receiving votes. They're the first team. They have the most votes outside of the top 25. It's just goofy though. Like there's no reason tell me who has a better resume. Okay, maybe Purdue. I'm just going to go through these teams. Purdue, Villanova. Who else? Kansas, no, they've lost. I mean, I just look around the country. A win at Mizzou, win versus Michigan neutral site, win versus Arkansas neutral site. How many teams in the country have those 3 type of wins? How many
Right.
teams in the country have the 5-1 resume that the Memphis Tigers have?
Right.
Not many.
No.
If no one has played enough games to have that type of resume. The Tigers built these in early in the season so they could have this type of resume at this point, and they're still not overtopping in the top 25. It's just strange. If you have those power conference wins, I mean, you should get a nod, but hey, we are where we are. And I just think those predisposed beliefs of Penny Hardaway and his style of ball and the teams he's had in the past are going to leave AP voters in this spot where they want to confirm their beliefs by keeping them outside of the top 25.
Rather than using the other two games, you use the final game. It makes no sense.
They have 3. I mean, realistically, if Mizzou gets their ish together, they're going to have 3 quad 1 wins early in the season.
In 6 games.
What's been interesting to me,
it's stupid.
Yeah.
What's been interesting to me is the narrative that's been out there of the Tigers beat Michigan and Arkansas in those first 2 games. Then they play Villanova. And you hear national media guys talking about, well, Arkansas must stink then, and Michigan
See,
must
BS.
be bad.
Right.
That's
Villanova's good.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's that bias that you have.
Confirmation bias.
But not even, because you're not even real. I don't know, man.
Well,
Villanova lost to Penn, but then they beat North Carolina. Like, here's my thing: is sometimes out of conference college basketball in the early season, it defies logic.
Right.
Like, I remember UConn not having a good out-of-conference last year at times. They struggled, and they got into conference play and kind of struggled as well. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just sometimes people lay eggs.
Yeah.
I don't think if you ran back that Villanova game versus Memphis tonight, it would be what it was. I don't think it would be 44-16 at half.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes guys lay eggs.
That score
is bad.
Wow.
But point being, it's like I just think sometimes it's like logic does not explain every single outcome in out-of-conference basketball in the early season. Okay, like you have 3 games in 3 days. Sometimes guys just struggle.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Even more so than it being an early season out-of-conference game with an unfamiliar opponent, it's 3rd game in 3 days. It's one of those scenarios where anything can happen.
But that is but your point is so well taken, Kenny, because it's just. Because Memphis beats you, sometimes these AP voters and other people around the country will just,
says more about the team.
It says more about
Memphis.
the opponent that they beat and how bad they are than how good Memphis is, and that's a frustrating feeling. But you kind of have to get. I mean, with Penny and where we've been in the past with this program, that is something you have to beat on the floor. That is something you just have to outrun at some point, and I think this team's capable of that.
Do you not think that let me ask you this question, both of y'all can answer it. Do you think Memphis fans have a right to feel like that confirmation bias always tends to skew in the negative towards Memphis, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's fair.
I think so.
I think they totally have a right to feel that way.
I mean, all you got to do is look at the track record. I mean,
also, here's the other thing about the top 25 at this point with these 2 weeks, them getting left out. Are you like me at the point where it's just like, I don't give a shit?
No, I mean,
like if they get in at some point, they're in. If they're not, who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
We've talked about it before. It doesn't mean anything anyway. Like, it doesn't change anything to have a.
Doesn't
have a
change
by
the
your
metrics
name.
they're going to have right this second. It doesn't change.
100%.
Which is, I mean, speaking on metrics, they're only 38 in Ken Palm right
which
now.
is strange to me. I don't really
weird.
get that. But then I saw Joe Lenardi move them up a seed line in his bracketology.
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
I think everybody's on different pages nationally about Memphis.
That's what I was going to say. I think they're just a really hard team to read right now. At least we know what they have on the floor, and
the loss to Villanova was weird,
right? But being zoomed out national media, and like you're saying, you already have your thoughts skewed toward a different direction. So when you see a team, we already saw the Missouri loss discredited.
Yes,
and so people kind
or
of
the Missouri win when they lost.
Yes,
to Jackson State.
Once they lost to Jackson State, so that kind of discredited.
Michigan lost to Long Beach State.
Right.
Arkansas lost to UNC Greensboro.
Right. So you like everything has a caveat next to it from a national perspective, especially when there was already, I know we've talked about the bias, but there was already skepticism on what this team would be because there's so many new guys and you're piecing together a lot of veterans from other teams and how does it work and how does it translate? And we know a lot of national media guys aren't fans of Penny and how he operates everything as a whole anyway. So if you zoom out, it makes sense why
I get that.
They look hard to read from a national perspective. But obviously where we sit, like they're a very good, very talented team that, at least in my opinion, is pretty much capable of beating any team on any given night. Because I completely agree with you about Villanova. I think if you run that game back, it could look it would
Well,
look
here's
completely
the thing.
different. Like they just were. It was off. It was a bad game.
We've
Sometimes
watched
you have off
enough
games.
damn college basketball to understand that out of conference college basketball is not just like, oh, this team.
It's
this
not the
team,
end all be all.
This team just can't compete
Right.
ever with Villanova. That just shows that Villanova's on a different level. No. Sometimes teams just suck half to half, and
Yeah.
it's not that deep.
No, I agree.
It's not that deep. So long story, back to the AP Top 25. Who gives a shit at this point?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I think this team's fine, though. We have December 2nd at Ole Miss, at VCU, and then at A&M, all in a row in an eight-day span. If they come out of that thing 3-0,
Then you're gonna
they'll
have people's
be
attention.
firmly into the top 25.
But even this is the last point. Sorry, this is the last point I want to make on basketball, and we'll move on and talk some football. I was looking today at kind of the same thing you're talking about, the next 3 games and what they look like. Ole Miss is 5-0, but when you look, they haven't played anybody.
they got votes in the AP poll.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was about
How
to say.
foolish is
they
that?
got votes in the AP poll, and then you look at the BPI, the Basketball Power Index. Memphis has a 52% chance to win that game. Ole Miss beat Alabama State by 10, Eastern Washington by 11, Detroit
By 1.
Detroit Mercy by 1, Sam Houston by 3, and Temple by 1.
Come on, man.
And Memphis has a 52% chance, according to the ESPN's Basketball Power Index, to beat them. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no rhyme or
wild.
reason to how this team is viewed right now. But
Can I say something
Yeah,
real
go
quick
ahead.
before we
Go
move on to football? Another storyline that came out of that weekend, this past week, the
Jordan Brown, isn't it?
no, not Jordan Brown.
Okay.
Last year, Memphis experienced this on a different level with DeAndre. They experienced it again with Jahvon. The national media, some of the analysts talking about age again. And it feels like to me, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but there's a lot of 23 to 24, 25-year-old guys still playing college basketball. But it feels like to me that Memphis gets made fun of a lot for it. Jahvon got called out 3 times in this past weekend, made fun of a few times on the broadcasts. What is this like? What this is like? Older players in the college basketball is the norm now, and yet it feels like Memphis players kind of get made fun of more than anybody else. Do y'all agree with me on that?
DeAndre, I don't really. He can. I'm sorry. I hate to say this, and people may come after me for it. I don't really care. DeAndre's going to be. He's 20. He was 26 last year. He's going to be 27. I don't give a damn if you make fun of it. You can make fun of it.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like that is very old to be in college basketball. The Jahvon Quinerly one's just weird.
yeah,
Just strange.
Yeah,
picking on him. I mean, he had an ACL injury, and like his road is not that.
Redshirted.
Yeah, his road's not that complicated. Like it's not like
you can line that up pretty.
It's not like he
easily
asked
and
for
see
a
it.
year back.
Right.
It's like
No, no,
he's
no.
still at college. He still has
Right. He still has
eligibility,
eligibility.
like legit
legit, yeah.
eligibility. So like I found it weird. Was it Seth Davis who did the whole thing, and then Jeff
Seth and
Goodman
Jeff.
reacted to it?
Right. It just felt weird. Like it's like why do they choose Jahvon to go after a Memphis Tiger? Like why? It feels like this is the second year in a row.
It does kind of feel that way, but I kind of want to just with the DeAndre thing. I kind of want everybody to just let that one go because he was 26 years old, man. Like okay, now but Jahvon's I think is just strange.
Yeah. I mean,
but I think but here's what I'll say, Kenny. I think most people went after those two, even that weren't Memphis fans. Like, why are you being weird about Jahvon Quinerly being in college still? He should be.
Yeah, makes no sense.
He's fine.
Let's talk a little bit of Memphis football. I think we're going to start this off with a quote from Coach Silverfield after the win over Temple.
You have it pulled
got
up?
it pulled up?
Yeah, it's here.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
So after the game, he was asked about fan perception. Oh my God, my Twitter went off of it. Hold on, keep talking. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I got it.
Keep talking.
Here it is. Here's the full quote. I love Ryan Silverfield, but this quote. All right,
You got it.
he says, "I'll be the first to say the goal was the championship, right? And as I mentioned previously, we fell short of it. But I'm not going to sit here and boo-hoo off a 9-win season. I like to reflect on all the positive things. The people that are going to be unhappy with a 9-win season are the same people that, when we went 8-3 my first year, beat UCF and won a bowl game that reached out, Coach, please don't ever leave Memphis. Please don't ever leave Memphis. And then 7 months later, hey, let's help you pack your bags. They're the same people that complain about politics but refuse to vote. The same people that would probably boo Santa Claus in this place. Like Nick Saban says, you can't make everybody happy. If you can, you got to sell ice cream. And so I'd like to reflect on the positives. Our tremendous fans that have been so supportive in good times and bad, that show up to the games, that love these guys, that, man, are proud of the fact that every year I've been the head coach, we've had the highest graduation rate. Those fans that just pour and love that stuff. One of the 10 teams in 108 years to get 9 wins. All these positive things are just so tremendous. And the momentum going forward, or moving forward, the opportunity to play in a bowl game to get our 10th win, a lot of great things this year.
Okay, so you focus on positive things, but you point out how negative the fan base is and how negatively you view them. So you did get to the positive things, but you're alienating a fan base that you need, ultimately. Now, here's what I'll say, because I talked to Ryan, I know Ryan, and I know where his head's at about where he wants the program to go and how he wants this thing to be built. I think he's in a space where he realizes you want to win championships, you want to be a part of big-time college football, you have to spend more. We have to get money, donors for the $50 million. You have to get money, donors for NIL. Like, I think he wants that to be the forefront. What he said here, though, did not convey that message in any meaningful way. What he conveyed there is, I have people within the fan base that are calling for my head, and quite frankly, I don't know why, and they should sort of kiss my behind. That's sort of what it felt like to me. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like I don't know what this quote does to help his case with those particular fans or with fans as a whole. And and that's the frustrating thing about the quote that he gave. I wish, like, if he would have just come out and said, hey, we want to compete at the highest level. I'm glad we had a 9-3 season, steps in the right direction, but we need your support. We need your support. It could have been a rallying cry, a call to arms, a call to action, if you will. Instead, he took that time to, quite frankly, shit on the part of the fan base that doesn't like him. And I don't think that was a very smart, meaningful, positive thing to do in that moment. You finished 9-3. We should be applauding, having a good time. But he took that moment to air his frustration on the fan base, and I just don't think ever for any coach, it's good to go after the fans that support you, whether you think they're being fickle or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's really well said, and I agree with everything that you're saying as far as a coach, as someone, especially in this modern day era, used to you could get away with a little bit more, especially if you were winning, to kind of crap on the fans a little bit because they weren't moving the needle for you. Yeah. Now they can. Now they have the capability to do that. So I get it. Like, I get it why you're not supposed to go after a fan base, why you're not supposed to trash a fan base. And I don't think it was the best move. But I will say, and this is probably where I'll differ from most people, it is good to hear Ryan, like, kind of get a little bit fired up.
Yeah, show a little fire. I get you. I get where you're coming from.
It was good to hear it because, I mean, we act like sometimes these people, whether it's football players, celebrities, whatever, like, especially on a local level, someone that is a coach of a local team, like, that they don't see and hear this stuff. Like, Ryan's heard everything that's been said over the last
year
plus.
He says he doesn't hear the stuff. That's the thing.
Clearly does,
you have to. Clearly, I mean, you have to say that. You have to say that. But he was able to kind of clap back, and I mean, I there's a part of me that cannot hate on him for clapping back. And I don't even know. I'm not even necessarily saying I agree or not whether it was warranted. Because I know that we've kind of been on the fence about how successful was this season. 9 wins, very good, but you didn't beat.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, but so I'm not even on a side of if it was warranted and how fans should feel about the season. But just to hear Ryan get a little bit of fire, and clap
You're taking
back
a different approach at this,
and get a little bit of get back, I kind of like.
Here's
I feel that.
Here's my thing though, because I know what Ryan wants to accomplish. I know what he wants to happen.
Yeah.
He wants money, donations, and people to throw their money at this thing. Fan support monetarily, so he can get the $50 million to match Fred Smith. So you can get NIL in there and keep guys on the roster and get guys from the transfer portal, that type of thing. But what he did accomplishes the opposite of that, quite frankly.
I said, I agree.
But you go after the fans, and all those fans are going to be like, well, why the hell do I need to give to you? You don't even like me.
Yes, I agree with you.
It just accomplished the opposite of what I know he wants.
Yes.
That's what I don't get about the whole thing.
I agree. I don't think it was constructive.
But
as an unbiased bystander, it was enjoyable.
But I'll say this to the fans.
You were saying talk your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say to the fans. If you can clap on Twitter, you better be able to take the clap back then. Like, don't get all sensitive and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to give or I'm not going to support because he said something mean.
Right.
Man, get you.
Yeah,
I'm about to say something else.
But I did not find it constructive.
No, it wasn't.
I did not find it constructive.
It wasn't constructive.
Now, can we talk about this, though?
What's up?
I don't think it's constructive for the fan base to not be happy with 9-3 either.
I don't either.
I don't think that's constructive.
Yeah.
So we're just all being...
Everybody's just negative.
Yeah,
Everybody's
good
being negative,
God.
bro.
Like, okay. Here's how I think about it. And I know what the caveat is before I even say it is that this conference sucks. Yes,
Yeah,
I get
sure,
it. I
cool.
get it. But
Good,
guess what?
great, grand.
Guess what? The CUSA was horrible too.
Right.
And if you would have
But
given,
no, people would tell you, oh, well, they played Mississippi State in the out-of-conference.
right. But if you would have given
Ole Miss,
2010 Memphis a 9-win season, do you know how much money would be flowing into that program right now?
Right,
Like,
for real.
and I get it. It wasn't perfect. This is not the season that Silverfield wanted, that the team wanted, that the fans wanted.
It wasn't that far off, though. That's my thing.
I know. But you got to think expectation. Okay, so when this conference was announced, when we knew the teams that were in this conference, there were a lot of fans saying that Memphis should march straight to the conference championship. No matter how realistic or unrealistic that was the thought process. UCF, Cincinnati, Houston are gone. Memphis should be in the championship game this year. And so that makes the 9-3
Okay.
unsuccessful in their eyes. But I mean, you win 9 games. You're going to a bowl game with the opportunity to get double-digit wins. Ryan made a hell of a point in what he said. What was it? 108 years. How many 10-win seasons have there been?
I think it was 9 wins.
9 win seasons.
9 win
There's
seasons.
been 10.
There's been 10. There's been 10 in 108 years, and everybody's
but
pissed.
also 4 since 2014.
right.
Yeah, so
It's tough. It's tough.
But I think something that's interesting that Jeff Calkins brought to my attention is I think like him calling out the fan base too. It does show how awkward the situation is.
It is.
9 wins, and he's calling out fans because fans are not happy. It's just a complicated, weird, awkward situation right now.
Especially here. Like, this is not a place where you expect that to happen.
No.
Memphis fans clearly do, though.
Yes. Now the expectations are clearly set that it is conference championship
either way,
or bust.
Here's what I'll say. I remember coming into the year, and I remember the discussions because there was Boise State, Mizzou, SMU, Tulane on the schedule.
Yeah.
Right? I think most people said, you have to get to 8 wins.
Yeah.
They got 9. They have a chance to get 10, and they could be going to the damn Liberty Bowl, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and playing Iowa State like a playback of 2017. Could you imagine, or maybe James Madison in the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa Bay? Could you imagine them winning one of those types of games against a premier opponent to end the year 10-3?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be come on.
And it's there. It's on the table.
At the end of the day, 9-4 is nothing to sneeze at. I'm not going to be mad about that.
No.
I'm just not.
I mean,
and also, people need to get this all the way out of their heads because it's just foolish. And they'll talk about Cincinnati and UCF and Houston. Oh, they hired coaches that have been around the block so they could elevate their status into the Big 12. I have news for you. The Big 12 was going to take them either way.
Yeah.
The Big 12 liked their markets.
Right.
It's Houston, Cincinnati is sort of by themselves right there.
Yeah.
and they have a on-campus stadium, big city that supports them. Central Florida's in Orlando. They were always going to take those schools. And by the way, if you just look at the schools and like who they hired ultimately, Luke Fickell's not there. Cincinnati hired Scott Satterfield.
Right.
He sucks. Dana Holgerson just got
canned.
fired at
Yeah.
Houston.
Yep.
The only one that's kind of doing, and I say kind of, is Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's not like he's
Light the
whooping
world on fire.
ass
Yeah, right.
in the Big 12. So I find that just
So like that team didn't live up to expectation.
And that roster, though,
And that roster was way
Let me
better
say
than
this,
this
though.
one.
Let
And
me
I
say
know
this,
who was
though.
in the conference.
let me say this though. Different conference, well, one, but it did have a 2,000 and 1,000-yard rusher.
I
the
get it.
same
No,
year.
I
Like,
get it.
conference was crazy.
The excitement level.
Yes, no, I get it.
It's about how it looks
the optics,
optically.
The optics were different, but
But like if you just, it is
In a-
interesting to put it side by
right
side.
in a vacuum, it's like there wasn't that much disappointment after that season, even though they didn't win the conference championship, they didn't win a bowl game.
they played for it, though.
There is that. There is the
but
aspect that they played
Oh
for.
my God, they backdoored their way into
They
that
did.
because it was the freaking. They still had the.
They had to play
They still
Houston.
had the East and the West,
Yes,
right?
and
they still had the
they,
divisions.
They played Houston at home, and they ran all over Houston.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that's
they got
what
They
happened.
got into their big set with
Right.
JoJo Dorcius and just ran it.
They
down
just
their
ran
throat.
the ball straight down their throat because they had Darrell Henderson back there
Yes, and a great O line.
and a great offensive line. So I don't know. It's confusing.
It's just I get it. Like it's just to me, and I know there's nuance to everything.
Yes.
But I don't know if how much nuance I really want to use when you're 9-3 with a chance to go win double-digit games
Yeah.
at the University of Memphis. Like for me, I don't think I need that much nuance.
Yeah.
We can still talk about if he's the guy for the job going into next year. If they flail around,
Right.
if they lose a bunch of guys in the transfer portal and he doesn't replace them. But
But once again, this
Come
thing,
on, man.
this thing is at least
this is a
in the right direction.
This was a positive year of momentum.
yes.
No question about it.
Unquestionably,
Now
yes.
you could say, "Oh, well, you're coming from the gutter of 6-6 or 7-6."
Yeah.
That's
But
the
at
gutter.
the same time, it's not. But you get what I mean. Like you could make that case, but regardless, it was positive momentum for this program. You had a 1,000-yard rusher, you had a 900-yard receiver, an 800-yard receiver. Seth Hennigan looked the part. Defense was a struggle. You may have to look for a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But ultimately, and you won 9 games.
Yep.
Like I don't know how I can really look at this season. Yes, there were probably some missed opportunities out there. You know, the Mizzou game, the SMU game for sure. Tulane. Like you can look at the missed opportunities all you want, but that's 9-3, y'all.
Yeah,
It is.
and even further on that, and once again, I know people hate football math. I do too, but like Memphis was very close to an 11-1 season.
Very.
Dog.
It's crazy.
Don't say
It
that.
sounds crazy.
Don't
I
say
know.
that.
I know people hate it, but they had a big lead against Tulane, and they
What
blew it in
also
the second
pisses
half,
me off,
and
though,
they had an opportunity
because they were
against SMU and
also
blew it.
just as close to like 7-5.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's fair.
We don't
going
like
back
that
to
kind
Texas,
of. We're not doing that
South
math.
Hey,
Florida.
we're sitting here
We're
talking
doing the positive math.
We're sitting here talking about
Positive math.
negativity. We're trying to inject positivity, and you're going back the other direction.
But I get there's nuance in all these conversations.
there
It's
is.
such an awkward, uncomfortable situation we
Yeah.
seem to be in with this program. And
Yeah.
I don't quite buy into it the way other folks buy into it. It's just not as bad.
Well,
The worst of the fan base, it's not near as bad.
No.
As they're acting like it is. The best of the fan base that tries to act like it's all sunshine and rainbows, it's not near as good
Right.
as they act like it is. And then there's all these people across, it's hard to get on the same page with one particular person that has it's hard to have reason in this situation.
Yes.
I feel like I'm trying to be reasonable, though.
Yeah.
9-3 is not going to get you fired. 9-3 is a good year. 9-3 is positive momentum for this program.
Well, let's talk about some more positive momentum real quick. Last week, it was announced that one Frederick Smith
Yep.
injected a $50 million donation into the program to help with the costs of
Stadium renovations. At the Sim.
Does that, I mean, that seemed to be a massive sign moving forward of positive momentum. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
No question about it. They get $220 million theoretically to deal with their stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to have to raise $50 million of it, though.
Right.
They ain't never done that before.
And this might not have helped.
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan helped with that, but they need to raise $50 million. So I'm very curious how that gets done.
Yeah.
But I think what it largely did for me is like, hey, we have clarity, and someone, of course, it always has to be Fred because he's dad for the city of Memphis.
Yeah.
He is father. He's the father figure of Memphis, the city of Memphis as a whole. He had to step up and inject a little bit of money in there so we could get at least a majority chunk of each job done at FedEx Forum and at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. And it looks like the Grizzlies signed off on it. You could still be curious. I don't think we're like out of the weeds yet because the Grizzlies want like, I think they're $140 or $150 million short of what they want as far as funds to be given to them. So you could worry about that. Are you going to piss them off long term? I think you get a little bit more relaxed when you see Jason Wexler put out the statement he did, the president of the Grizzlies. But I mean, man, that was nice. That was very cool to see. And I can't say enough about Fred Smith and what he does for the city. If something needs to be done,
He does it.
he steps up and he does it.
I have.
And it's his money. It's not FedEx's money.
No,
This
right.
is Fred
It's his.
Smith's
That's the
pocket.
Fred Smith Foundation.
He's,
Yeah.
He is a billionaire.
He is.
Yes.
How much of his net worth is $50 million?
Not
Oh
much.
my God.
Like
Not
0.2%.
1/45th.
So
probably a boatload.
we're struggling
Less than
here,
that.
right? I've got answers for us. Talking about positivity, negativity. How do we get on the positive side? I will tell you something that always injects positivity in me, and I'd bargain a guess in you as well. It's the fella behind the camera. What he does every week when he comes up with the hot three.
I'm an injector of positivity. That's right.
That is right. So we are going to take a quick break, and on the other side, we will be back with the hot three.
Bluff City Media and Bluff City NIL are proud partners of Coaching for Literacy, a Memphis nonprofit using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. When you donate to Bluff City NIL through Coaching for Literacy, your gift is 100% tax deductible. This partnership is a win-win-win. Tiger student athletes win in the NIL landscape. Coaching for Literacy wins by engaging Tiger student athletes in this monumental cause. And most importantly, elementary students in Memphis receive support to become strong readers. To donate today, visit coachingforliteracy.org/bluff-city.
You cut the rotation down, which is good to see. Very early on, you played quite a few, but what a quote from Rick. You know, talking about the rotation in the second half, the rotation got cut down because it was time to stop experimenting and time to win a ball game.
I love it.
Can we get that tattooed somewhere?
I wonder if they stick with that, though. I understand there's some conference games you're going to be able to play some guys.
Well, you can experiment when you're up 30. Let's not experiment when we're down 10
In
on
such
the
a
road.
pivotal game on the road.
Yeah.
I know it's only the second game of the year, but it's still pretty damn pivotal. Considering you don't have many of those lying around. Challenging
not.
road games. You need them all because you're not going to get any favors in conference.
But you got a heavy dose of those four, though, with Jones, Walton, Quinerly, and Mills all playing. David with the least amount, 27 minutes, when you got 33, 34, and 33 out of Mills, Quinerly, and Walton.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
But a guy I am surprised about is Jacob Gilliard, a.k.a.
I'm surprised too.
AKA Tiniest Jones, AKA CP Wee.
Folks on Twitter saying Jacob Gilliard needs to pull up to the Anthony Saints show.
Well, we got a high chair for him. I don't know how much pulling up he
Let
gonna
me
do.
get my booster seat real quick. Hold
I
on.
don't know what pulling up looks like for Jacob Gilliard, man. Can he drive? Do his feet touch the pedals when he gets in the car? I'm gonna say this, man. Like, y'all are not gonna get on me about why I didn't catch the wave of Jacob Gilliard.
No, I was about to back you up. When it was first announced he was starting,
Yeah.
everybody had
Everybody was like, what the hell are we doing?
Everybody.
But then Bryson ass. Bryson, you are the most company man ass, water toting ass dude, man. Like, here goes Bryce. The Bryces of the world come with the receipts on it. Like, bro, get out of my face, bro.
What about Zaire Williams?
We gonna talk. We gonna get this out here, bro. Cause that man is trash. He fooled y'all once again and got me. He got me.
Tune in to the Anthony Saints Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Discover a world of possibilities at Streetcars of Memphis. Revamp your ride with the ultimate auto transformation. From booming audio systems to eye-catching wheels, powerful lift kits to sleek drop kits, cutting-edge LED lights and light bars, we've got it all. Unleash your style with confidence. Feel the next level of auto care at Streetcars of Memphis. Your dream ride is just a visit away. Visit us online at www.901scm.com and let the transformation begin. We got some positive air horns in the building.
Yes.
The injector of positivity is here.
I am here, baby.
And
Y'all ready?
Yes, of course.
Hey, this is the Hot 3, sponsored by Streetcars of Memphis. Man, listen, it's cold again. It got cold, boys. So if you need some winter tires, if you need anything done to your car, get your car ready for the winter. A lot of bad driving going on. Does y'all's car have the little thing that pops up when it says when it's cold outside and be like, be careful, ice may be present?
Ice. Yep,
Yes.
correct.
There might be ice on the streets, guys. You might need some chains on your tires. They can do that for you at Streetcars of Memphis. I don't know, probably not. But anyway, they can do everything. They can pimp your ride. They can just do the daily maintenance for your car. 901scom.com, Streetcars of Memphis. Link is in the description.
gosh.
2 weeks in a row, boys.
That a boy.
2 weeks in a row.
Boy, it is getting kind of cold though. Yeah,
Freaking cold.
been nipping lately.
I love it. You have been. Yeah.
All right, Kenny.
All
What's,
right.
what's our first?
Let's go topic number one. What an awesome weekend of college football. Rivalry week. Lots of crazy games. You can literally just kind of, no matter what the records are, you can just kind of toss those records out the window when it comes to rivalry week. Y'all discuss it for me, man. What game did y'all enjoy the most?
All right, can we sort of do this in order a little bit?
Yes.
Because like anything leading up, like Egg Bowl, meh.
Boring.
Anything on Friday, the Oregon State thing was kind of funny because Jonathan Smith goes to Michigan State, the coach for Oregon State, and he tells Oregon State before the game they got slaughtered.
Yeah.
But Saturday was the day.
Yes.
And I watched a little bit of the LSU A&M game alongside the Michigan and Ohio State game. LSU, Jaden Daniels is the Heisman. Can we start there?
Yes.
Like, no doubt.
100%.
Like, I'm tired of, like, dealing with the Bo Nix conversation.
4,900 yards, 50 touchdowns.
If he's not their
4
quarterback
picks.
this year with how bad
They're
their
terrible.
defense is, they would have probably been a 5-7, 6-6 team, something like that.
What's he
So-
at? 4,900 yards, 50 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he is
49 total yards. 4,900
yards.
total yards.
Yes,
50 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Number 1 in the country in QBR.
Yeah, no, it's like, and I think he's leading the country in yards per carry.
8.2.
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, throw the whole, they have to be in the college football playoff
they
thing
don't.
out of the damn
He's clearly-
window. It's
clearly.
ridiculous. He's clearly the Heisman.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of people acting like he's not. Now, Michigan, Ohio State. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be honest. I have kind of thought all year that Ohio State was a pretender. I didn't think Kyle McCord was very good. We have talked about they've been better defensively, and they haven't been the finesse team of the past where they just get run over by teams. And not off. I mean, they've been 11-1 the last 3 years. Basically, they get run over by Michigan. Has been the concern with Ryan Day at Ohio State. They've been a tougher team this year. Defensively, they've been more physical. They've ran the ball well. They've had to run the ball well because Kyle McCord just hasn't been super effective, even with Emeka Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. But they were in it until the end. They had a chance to win this game. They got the ball down by 6. They could have scored a touchdown and won this game. Unfortunately, Kyle McCord got hit, ball fluttered, and it got picked off intended for Marvin Harrison Jr. But I was pleasantly surprised with Ohio State, and they really shut down Michigan's run game for the majority of this game. Blake Corum couldn't find anywhere to run until he ripped off what was like a 26-yard touchdown, 22-yard touchdown later in the game. So overall, impressed by Ohio State, but they still couldn't pull it out. Michigan was the better team.
Yeah,
they had the better quarterback. I think is what it came down to.
Okay, well, yeah, for sure, 100%. Like that's what it ultimately came down to. And really, Michigan didn't ask their quarterback to do much. No. And they haven't asked him to do much since Sharon Moore's been on the sideline.
He did make one ridiculous throw.
Yeah, it was on a corner route where he floated it right over the shoulder. Yeah. I saw Patrick Mahomes make one throw like that against the Raiders.
The Raiders over the weekend.
Unreasonable.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did. They didn't ask him to do much though in those 3 games with Sharon Moore. One thing that just jumped out to me, and like, we'll talk about the Ryan Day thing in a second. Ryan Day coached kind of conservatively and kind of scared.
Yeah.
And Sharon Moore, who's an interim for Michigan, did not. Nope. Like, he's like, let it all hang out. Who gives a damn? And they have a lot to lose, too. Yeah. Both teams have a lot to lose, but you could tell Ryan Day felt it a lot more than Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore went for 3 fourth downs. What was it? 4th and 1 in the first quarter. Into the first quarter, Ryan Day decides to punt it, even though he's on the Michigan's 46.
Yep.
Then he had one on Michigan's 42, 4th and 2. He decided to go for it was like a 52-yard field goal, and they miss it. It's just like, let your nuts hang. Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Don't play to not lose.
Yeah, exactly. Don't play to just stay in the game. Play to go win the game. And I just thought that Ryan Day fell short of that. It was a little bit soft.
I agree.
Where his team's not as soft as they used to be. Yeah. But I think ultimately what it comes down to for this Ohio State team, it doesn't take C.J. Stroud for them to win that game and be a national championship contender.
No.
What it takes is like a J.T. Barrett, and they don't have that right now.
No.
Kyle McCord is just not good.
No.
Not good at all. And that's been their downfall so far this year. But I see the Ohio State fandom like
ripping Ryan Day.
Move on from him. Fire him? Are you high?
33-3.
He's 56-7 in his career.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know, man. It's not like, the thing that really bothers me, he's not far off from winning a natty. He could have won one last year if a couple of things bounced differently in the Georgia game.
They just get a stop.
Yeah. It does not, it's not like he's way off.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not saying he should stay there forever. If he can't get over the Michigan hump or get, into the national championship and win a national championship, it shouldn't be a forever thing.
But to move on from him
is crazy, because I also think he's made some pretty meaningful steps in the right direction with that team. Yeah. I mean, a couple years ago we were talking about them. Oh yeah, they can play offense, they can score
defense
50,
terrible.
But the defense is awful and they're not tough and they have no resolve when the going gets tough. They changed that all around this year. Like sure. they won a game, 17-14?
Yep.
Against Notre Dame.
Yep.
Whatever, there's 10 people on the field who gives a damn, but they held Notre Dame to 14 points. That was decent. It was a good Notre Dame offense going into that week. In that Michigan game, it was way closer than it has been because it was sort of a battle in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Couple things he needs to do: go find a quarterback, go get your O-line improved, and I think that's a national championship team. And I think I'm not going to say they are capable of winning a national championship this year if it weren't for their quarterback throwing 2 picks in this game and throwing one in crunch time when they really did not need it. They were on Michigan's 22?
They were close.
Yeah, so it's like They are
right
very
there.
freaking close,
right
and
there.
they're talking about getting rid of Ryan Day.
no,
it's
insane.
foolish. And Urban Meyer was sort of a legend there for a second, right?
Yeah.
Went undefeated his first year when they were ineligible for postseason.
Right.
But he beat Michigan just about every year, right? He always beat Michigan. But within those times, he won one national championship and he lost to Iowa 55-24, Purdue 49-20. Like he lost those games, whereas Ryan Day never, ever loses those games. It's just to Michigan at this point.
Yeah.
It's just strange to me how Ohio State fans are like that stuck up, quite frankly, and their expectation is like it's the worst in college football, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just good enough to be in the national championship
You have to win
conversation.
it.
You have to win the national championship, or it's a failure.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
It's a spoiled fan base.
And they wanted to replace C.J. Stroud. Let's never forget that.
Right. Let's move on to the Iron Bowl, and then we will move on to our next topic.
That was nuts, man.
This is Alabama. I told you guys off camera before we started. I was literally sitting there watching the game with my dad and said, "This is a game that Alabama somehow wins." On this play, everything went wrong on that drive. Now, granted, Auburn fumbled a punt.
Yes,
that gave Bama the ball close to the red zone with like 5 minutes left. No, maybe it wasn't close to the red zone, but with like 5 minutes left, and they chew all of this clock, and they keep moving forward and back and forward and back, and then you get the fumbled snap by Jalen Milroe that goes bouncing, and it feels like no way that Alabama's going to pull this off. And
don't forget the loss of down and
Right.
illegal forward pass because he ran in front of the
yeah.
line of scrimmage and tried to go backwards
Right.
so he to get behind. It's like, no, brother, you passed it
Right.
already. You
So
can't take it back.
so-
No takesy backsies.
So then you have 4th and goal from the 31-yard line, and I'm not even going to say Alabama won this game as much as Auburn lost this game. They rushed 2. And they play a very, to me, in that situation, you know where the ball is going. If I'm rushing 2, all the rest of my players, my other 9 players, are lining the goal line. They had, I think, 5 guys
That's what
back.
they did.
No, they didn't.
It's
They had guys standing in the middle of the field. They had a spy.
By the end of the play, the spy was weird. Just
Yeah,
rush him. Just
yeah.
rush him. What's Jalen Milroe going
Gonna
to
do?
Run 31 yards? And
But in no end
Truck
of
the whole
game
defense?
Hail Mary scenario should anybody have a one-on-one opportunity ever.
that was never the plan.
No, I know it's not the plan, but it's the execution.
That's bad execution by the players. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
You can talk like whatever. Like I see they only rushed 2. They gave him a bunch of time. They dropped 8.
I don't care about the
Cover
rushing, too.
the damn
Yeah.
wide receivers, man.
Yeah.
Just force an incompletion.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe, just not a known. He's not an awesome thrower of the football. He's been better, but he's not some great thrower of the football. I will give him credit though. That was
put
an
it there.
absolute dot.
He put it there.
Dot.
In the
he
corner
saved
of
his
the end
best
zone.
throw of the year for last.
For when they absolutely had to have it.
But I have a hard time going after, because I've heard a lot of people with the same thing you had to say about rushing 2.
I don't care. I don't care about the rushing too.
I can't blame anybody for something I'd probably
Right,
do,
I don't
given
care.
the same
I don't care about that
circumstances.
at all. I don't care about the rushing too.
I
But
think
just
it's the
have
execution
everybody
let-
back there and blanket it.
And just letting them do that. I was honestly, it's kind of funny leading up to that play. I was debating because I'm like, Nick Saban's a good coach. What does he decide to do here? Is he just gonna like, hey, let's go, 31 yards,
Yeah.
no first down available. Let's just sling it into the end zone with Jalen Milroe. Or I was thinking maybe take the field goal, onside kick, see what you can do there, because you just feel like you're completely
You
screwed.
have no chance.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't know what he was going to do. Like, I was actually debating that in my head, and I was almost leaning to the field goal and, like, do the onside kick, because it's like, no way. Because you know how many offensive coordinators in the country have a play drawn up for 4th and 31, 4th and
Zero.
goal from the 31?
0 of them.
None.
Yeah.
Like, none of them. That is not on the play card.
No.
There's no 4th and 31.
Yeah.
No. That's just, let's heave it up and get lucky. That's all it is.
Did
So
Bond push off?
I was debating whether they were going to kick that field goal, and then when they lined up, I'm like, you idiots, you absolute morons.
Yeah.
Then I let out an audible scream when he caught it.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely, Taylor got mad at me. Taylor was pissed at me.
As soon as I saw the ball leave his hand and saw that he had one-on-one coverage, you just have to be like, he's going to catch that.
Did Bond push off? Can I be honest? I don't care.
I don't either.
I reveled in the fact that I got to watch all the Auburn fans cry.
Yeah.
And just, that was great.
That was perfect.
And watching Hugh Freeze lose, that's always fun.
Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, that's always fun. But that was nutso.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like Jordan Hare, that Auburn Stadium,
Something crazy in the air.
always.
Something crazy in the
Nuts.
air.
There's voodoo. Somebody did something.
All right, Kenny, next topic.
All right, topic number 2. We're staying in college football. Obviously, this weekend, the rivalry weekend games kind of set up conference championships, which is this weekend. So let's talk conference championship games. What games are you looking forward to the most? And the playoff race now is just a cluster from 10 down.
I'm gonna switch this up on Gabe a little bit.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Okay, this is gonna be how we do this second topic. We're gonna go through the major conference championships. You're gonna pick the winner of each one, and then you're gonna give me your playoff picture.
Okay.
And this is gonna be our second segment.
Okay.
All right, Friday night, arguably the best conference championship.
I think one of the most consequential, besides Georgia, Alabama.
They're 50. They're 50.
Yeah, but this is a consequential. This is the most consequential game.
Oregon, Washington, 12-0 Washington, who's number 4.
What
Oregon,
game?
number 6, 11-1. Washington defeated Oregon on a last-second field goal in Washington earlier this season. Who's your winner?
Oregon. Give me Oregon.
Okay.
I think they're better on both sides of the ball, and I think Washington's sort of been trending in a not-so-great
Not at all.
direction in the back half of the
Yeah,
season.
that's why Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite in this game that I believe will be played in Las Vegas. If I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's Vegas.
Yeah. Big 12 championship, kind of a stinker. Oklahoma State, Texas. Okay.
Although, I will say, I would not rule out Oklahoma State just somehow. Like, Mike Gundy always finds a
Pulls
way
something.
to, yeah.
This one also pretty easy. Big 10 championship, Michigan, Iowa.
Iowa will score
Less
3
than 10
points, at the most. 3
Probably not a
points?
touchdown.
Okay. Michigan.
ACC championship, Louisville, Florida
That's
State.
actually tough. But
Florida State 2.5-point favorites currently.
Louisville is
coming off a
loss
to Kentucky.
This is kind of complicated, isn't it? Like
It is.
I'm torn because Tate Rodemaker is just not that good, but like Louisville, I feel like they're sort of they've run out of the luster they
magic.
had.
Yeah, I lean Florida State.
I'll lean Florida State.
Yeah. And then the SEC championship game, obviously a ton of implications. The number 1 team in the country, Georgia, against the number 8 and 11-1 Alabama Crimson Tide. It's a toughie.
Well, like people are going to talk about Alabama 27-24 in the Iron Bowl, but they're going to ignore the fact that
31-23 against Georgia Tech.
against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with what I have gone with, and
Bama.
I'm going to go with Bama.
Okay, so if it plays out the way that you're saying, Oregon would be 12-1 and win the championship and win their conference championship. Georgia would be 12-1, lose their conference championship. Bama would be 12-1, win their conference championship, beat the number 1 team. Michigan would be 13-0, and Florida State would be 13-0. How does it shake out? And Texas would be 12-1 and win their championship.
I think
as well.
Michigan, Florida State, by definition of being
Have to.
undefeated ACC championship, would be 2, and then you'd have Alabama at 3.
And then Oregon.
Well, this is what I do. I'd have Alabama at 3, Oregon at 4. But I think the way the committee's shown they're going to lean, it might be Oregon at 3, Alabama at 4. Because Oregon's been ahead of them every single
Right.
week, even though they have no business being ahead of them.
You're right. And they're avenging their only loss.
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree.
That's what I think what it would be. I think it should be Alabama 3 and then Oregon at 4.
I agree. I think that's.
But whoever gets that 3 spot against the 13-0
So the number 1 team
undefeated
in the country.
ACC team, ACC Florida State, ACC champ Florida State, they're lucky.
Yes.
Because it's like they're not full strength.
there's a little bit of an asterisk
Yes.
there.
But at the same time, it gives you potentially an easier road into the national championship to deal with. I think Michigan versus Bama would be a hell of a game.
It would be.
So would Georgia fans have a right to be pissed off if all this plays out the way you just said it?
No.
Not particularly.
No.
No.
I mean, how can you really argue with it? Michigan would be 13-0 and win their championship. Florida State would also be 13-0 and win their championship. Bama would have beat them and won their championship, and Oregon would have won their championship and be 12-1 and avenge their only loss.
Yeah.
And
So
it's got to be championship winners, unless mayhem happens, which is
And you know what?
certainly on the table.
The mayhem is. Let me go ahead and pull this.
But if
up.
Washington wins and Georgia loses, then Georgia has no chance of getting it. 0%, because Washington it would be 3 13-0 teams.
Mayhem. Okay, let's see. Michigan undefeated Big Ten champ. Florida State undefeated ACC champ. Alabama 12-1 SEC champ. Oregon. This is sort of what we're talking about here. But then Texas. That's
Right.
the wild card. 12-1 with a Big 12 championship.
With a win over
Then-
Alabama, head-to-head win over Alabama.
Then you'd have Georgia, Washington, both at 12-1 on the outside.
That is
looking
spicy, man.
Yeah,
How would that play the hell out?
it's tough.
Oh.
That's
But here's the thing: you're not. What people have to understand is, under no circumstances are you leaving out the SEC. So whoever wins this damn Georgia-Alabama
Is
game,
in.
it's a play-in game.
Yeah.
You're in, and then the other one has to have a lot of help. Well, Alabama's done if they're out. If they lose. If Georgia loses, they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
They need a lot of help around them. They need Texas to go down. I mean, what else? What else would they need to have spin their way to make that happen? Because
I don't know.
they need Texas to go down at the
Yeah,
very least.
Texas would
Florida
have to
State
lose.
to go down.
Yeah, Florida State.
That
have
would
to
be
lose.
the other one to get Georgia in and Alabama in.
Yeah. Florida State lost, then both of them could
That's
get in.
that's what you'd need, but I don't know.
That's
It's a
tough.
lot going right for you.
Stuff. All right, Kenny. Last topic, and let's get out of here.
Man, I know NFL football happened this weekend as well, and there was a lot of really good games. But let's specifically, I want to target the Bills versus the Eagles game. Memphis Tigers were all over the ending of that game. Crazy game. Jake Elliott sending it to overtime with a 59-yard
59-yarder.
field goal in the rain.
In the rain. Yep.
Unfreaking believable, man.
Yeah.
So y'all talk about that game a little bit.
Yeah, this was an awesome game, and I think maybe some people were skeptical coming in because the Bills haven't been as good as people thought, but the Bills are still a really good football team, and they can beat anybody on any given day. I think they showed that against Philly, even though they didn't win the game. There are some things I want to talk about after the game. So let's talk about the game itself.
Okay.
It was a pretty wild game. You start off, Buffalo looks like
That's game of the year so far.
oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's that close.
Buffalo looked like the inferior team for the first half. Philadelphia could not get anything going offensively at all. They couldn't get A.J. Brown going. They couldn't get Devontae Smith going. They couldn't get DeAndre Swift going. And they just struggled. And we saw an Eagles defensive front struggle for the first time all year. Their secondary hasn't been great this season, but their front seven has been really good. They've been, I think, top 3 run defense all year. And the Bills are not known for running the football. They run for over 150 yards. Josh Allen obviously accounted for over half of that. I think he had like 86 yards and 2 touchdowns.
81, 2
81.
tugs.
So it was a weird first half because Philly didn't play well at all. Philly really didn't play well until the end of the game, until the fourth quarter. They came alive. Josh Allen threw an interception in the red zone. James Bradbury got the ball for the Eagles in the red zone. And then it just
Watching that game,
snowballed.
I hate to say it, watching that game, and I think Josh Allen is an elite quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And I think people have actually, I think, swung a little bit too far against him this year.
Agreed.
Because he's making too many mistakes with the football. But I hate to say it, going into that drive, I go, he's going to throw a pick.
Yeah.
He's due.
It's his time.
Due. It's
Yeah.
going to happen.
He had played the perfect game up to that point.
Yes, he played awesome.
And even after that was
But
incredible.
it just there's just that one point in the game you just sort of feel it coming, and
Yeah.
he had been so good with the football up to that point, and he throws a little stick route with double coverage. He didn't realize the flat defender was going to stay.
Yep.
He could have taken a whole shot up the sideline, but the safety was cheated up, and he didn't take that, so he throws a little stick route. Easy pick for Darius Slay, like just right there in his hands, and it's like, oh, why?
Can we talk
Josh,
about
why?
Can we talk about how snake bitten he is in overtime? He is 0-6 in his career.
And he's the one who got the damn rule changed.
and had every opportunity
Yes.
to win this
Well-
game. Gabe Davis toasted. Was it Slay that was on him? Man, the man might have been toasted him, burnt. And so what happened? Like if you're watching the game and you're like, what just happened? Like, why was that ball so off? And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is what I saw. 0 blitz. They brought everything. You got straight man-to-man across the board. Gabe Davis runs by his man, and Josh Allen, who has pressure in his face, is getting the ball out there because basically in a hot read situation,
you got to throw.
Everything's off. Everything's off.
Yeah.
It looked like Gabe Davis had a corner route, and Josh Allen's expecting, hey, look, you're wide open. There's no one behind you. The ball's just going to be there.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some miscommunication and missed him because it was – as soon as I saw that, I was watching the game with my cousins and stuff, and he's a big Eagles fan. As soon as I saw that game,
he should have. I sort of wonder though. Like, I wonder if Gabe. You think that's more on Josh Allen or
I think
Gabe
it's on Gabe.
Davis?
I think as a receiver in that situation,
You just got
have to
know.
understand.
If you get your head around, hey, just go to where
if you saw
you're
that
over top, you're beating the defense.
You know, as a receiver, hey, I have no safeties over top. There's nothing over top,
Yes.
so everything's coming in Josh Allen's face right now. And I burnt this dude, so the ball should be here. And you're still, I mean, it's tough. It's you can't fully blame Gabe Davis for running the correct route, but it just you have to have that wherewithal in that scenario.
That's the type of play that the elite of the elite receivers make.
Yes, that's true.
The Devontae Adams.
If that was Diggs,
he's probably going to understand it. It's like the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes understanding of just you have to have that chemistry built up, that synergy,
awareness.
and they just didn't quite have that on that play. But I'll say this about Jalen Hurts, and I think he's still the leader in the clubhouse to win MVP.
Yes. I mean, he had 5 touchdowns.
He was great.
For a quarter.
One thing about him though, he's great when it matters.
Yes.
He's just so good when it matters.
Yes.
When you need a play from the guy, he's going to make the damn play.
Yeah.
And yes, he has a lot of help. He's got a good O-line. He's got a good back. He's got good wide receivers.
Good tight end when he's healthy.
Yeah, Goddard hasn't been healthy, but good tight end when he's healthy. He's got a lot of help. And I think a pretty good offensive coaching staff. Brian Johnson is his new OC, first-year OC. I think he's doing a pretty good job. But when it comes down to him just making a damn play, he's going to make it.
Yeah, he's got it.
Like a deep ball down the field to Olamide Zaccheaus for a touchdown and a jump ball and a well-placed ball. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just not a common type of play to make to a, fourth receiver?
Yeah.
So, it just when it matters, that guy steps
there.
up. And the other guy in his division, your quarterback, Dak, can't really say
Goes
the same thing about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jake Elliott, by the way, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. Like, Justin Tucker is the best kicker in the league.
Yeah.
I think Jake's right behind him.
Jake's up there.
He's 4 for 4 in his career from 58 plus. And he's 9
for 9.
9 for 9 now?
Yeah.
9 for 9 with either 2 minutes to go or an overtime.
In game time and winning.
To give the Philadelphia Eagles a tie or a lead.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's stones.
That's ridiculous. Because I always remembered, like, back in the day, there was two guys that I'll never forget because you always had the Colts and the Patriots like fighting it out in the AFC. Because Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and all that. Vinatieri was the kicker for the Pats. Mike Vanderjagt was the kicker for the Colts. Yeah. Mike Vanderjagt was usually the best kicker in the league leading up to the playoffs.
Stupid kicker.
And then when there's 3 seconds on the clock and you need to go hit that field goal.
And Vinatieri might have missed 2 already that day.
Vanderjagt would hit one that just had never had a chance. It would just always be a miss. Adam Vinatieri would step up no matter what happened in the game and just drill it. Jake has those type of stones.
Yeah, he does. No, you're absolutely right.
It's crazy.
So last little point of discussion. Go ahead.
59 yards. Like, I want people to, because sometimes it gets lost, right? I think you'll agree with me on this. Sometimes it gets lost, like kicking and how hard it is with the elements and from hashes.
And it's on grass, not
left
turf.
hash.
Yeah.
You have to push it from 59 yards away, driving sleet rain mix with winds swirling in every direction because of the stadium and how it's built.
Right.
That was one of the hardest degree of difficulty kicks I have seen in that type of situation ever.
And if you saw the result, he would have hit it from 65 probably.
He hit it low.
He did hit it low. He hit it low, but
it angled in. It was getting pushed, right?
You could see how the wind moved it as soon as it came off his foot. But last little point of conversation or topic of conversation before we get out of here: are the Eagles going to continue to escape?
That's a great question.
I think
they've been playing with fire all year.
I think I saw something earlier today that they are only team now. I think I can't remember the exact stat. I think they've been outgained in 4 consecutive games, and maybe lost the turnover differential as well. And they've won all of those games.
And 7 of 10 of their wins are by a score or less.
Yes.
So,
The Cowboys outgained them. They found a way to win that game. Who was it last week? The Chiefs, right? Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs outgained them. They won that game. The Bills.
a touchdown or less is what I should have said, by the way.
Yeah. So does it catch up to them? They're sitting at, what are they, 9-1, 10-1, 10-1?
See, the
Something like
reason I don't know if I think it'll playoffs maybe, but hopefully they'll be peaking by then. I think that's sort of the idea of where they're at right now. But I don't know, man. Like, they've been there, done that before, and they have clutch performers on that team.
And
that's where I'm at. I just don't know if it'll catch up to them like people think it will.
right. I don't either, because I just think they have guys that make plays in big moments, and you have to have that if you're going to win close games. This isn't like the Vikings of last year when they were getting lucky winning close games, or they had things break their way. Yes, things always break your way, but like you said, Jalen is always going to step up in the moment.
They have championship pedigree too.
100%.
They've seen a Super Bowl.
Right, they've seen it. Jalen's going to step up when it matters. Jake Elliott's going to step up when it matters. Darius Slay is known to make
big plays
in those times. You've got Fletcher Cox, who's done it 100,000 times.
Hassan Reddick.
Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, those young deep, they're
Jalen Carter's a freak.
monsters. So
That whole O-line, by the way.
yeah, the whole O-line.
Jason Kelsey, Lane
They're
Johnson,
out.
Jordan
They're without
Mailata.
Lane Johnson.
He was out last night.
Yeah. So, and Fletcher Cox missed the majority of that game. Like they were missing players, and they still.
I don't
were
see
able
it
to pull it
catching
out.
up to
I
them
don't
like
either.
in some massive way. Because I think they also have this knack that just great teams have.
Yep. To just find a way.
But also, like, offense stinks, defense pulls the chain a little harder. Defense stinks, offense pulls the chain a little harder. Like, they just they play very complimentary.
Very
And have good special teams, and they're about that business.
They are. All right, well, we are going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, comment. If you are listening, you can listen wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can subscribe there also. We appreciate you for joining, and we will be back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.